we are going live and we are now recording. All right. So, everyone, welcome to session 6 of our new Ravenloft campaign, Ravenloft, Vanity's Bloodsong. Ravenloft is the D&D horror setting, and as such, this campaign will include themes of horror. You have been warned. That said, we do like to keep things PG-13, and now let us introduce our players and their characters, and tonight we will be starting with Tommy.
Hello, my name is Tommy, and I play Odelia Almaran, who is a cleric of the water goddess Moiris, and I always envision a compact, small Molly Weasley when it comes to my character. She's got that definite mama bear vibe. She's middle-aged. She's not in the first spring of youth, but she can still throw down when the people she loves are threatened. So fly away red hair, chubby body, small, compact little halfling, angry.
Love it. Anyboo.
All right. Hey guys, I'm Ben. I play Morokan. He's the monk cleric of Hamina, the goddess of the sun. And if I were to describe his look, it would be something along the lines of, like, imagine if The Rock were shiny and golden and also maybe had the head of an iguana.
I can see it.
I like it.
Yeah, it's probably about the best description I can come up with.
And I am John. I play Thora Mikitas, the druid of Fin Hifara. You know him, you love him, he turns into bugs. Character description wise, I always thought he was very plain. Like he's a half elf, sure. And he has like middle length brown hair, like average skin tone with like essentially like a burlap robe over top. The more interesting description is his beetles, which I have always thought of as the scarabs from the Mummy.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay. And JT will probably not be joining us as he is away on a business trip. If he does join us, it will be much later, but probably not. And JT, I think he pictures his character, Anduriel, the vampire cleric of Nalock, the god of death and vengeance, as being a cross between Batman and Castiel from Supernatural, maybe with a little bit of Tom Cruise thrown in there. I'm not sure. Something along those lines. But I am
so
Sage
Edward
Sorcery.
Cullen, basically.
We don't say the sparkle word. He doesn't like the sparkle word, even though I have written that into several description of his powers. But he's not a sparkle vampire. He's very strict anyway. Unless I say so. I am Sage of Sorcery, your humble dungeon master, and joining you this evening, also known as Matt. And now we will have ourselves a brief recap. In our last game, the party managed to reconsecrate an abandoned chapel, keeping the mob of townfolk turned vampires at bay. With time to explore, they found a number of rusted musical instruments and musical symbols throughout the chapel. They also discovered a pair of sisters living in the chapel. Claiming that they kept to the chapel to avoid the vampiric curse of the town, the sisters seemed eager to stay near the party for the night. Lured close, the sisters nestled in between the party members, and then as everyone was falling asleep, they transformed into giant red spiders known as Red Widows, with bulbous red bodies and Black Widow symbols in black on their bodies. And we are in mid-combat with them in a rather aggressive and vicious combat. The spiders have taken some nasty damage. They've been wounded pretty heartily, but if I don't miss my guess, party members have been wounded heartily too. What's everybody down to? Tommy, what are you down to?
64.
64. John, what are you down to?
60.
So Odelia 64, Thora 60, Morokan.
Oddly enough, I I think I'm actually at full health. Someone healed me like right before the session ended. So
Very nice.
yeah, I believe that would be Thora.
All right. So we have a number of effects here in play. I have that Morocon is currently scared because he was horrified by the transformation of the Red Widow, who was in his arms and snuggling up to him, was horrified at her transformation into a spider. And so Morocon, unfortunately, witnessing the horrifying transformation, is immobilized and has a -2 to his defenses until he successfully saves. So I have that round. Thora, I have written down that you have a +2 to defenses until the end of this turn. So once your turn is over, Thora, then thankfully the widows go before you, so you'll get to take advantage of that. Yeah. And then Odelia, you just shook off some poison, and that is what I have there. So you're actually feeling okay having shaken that off. Now we do have the complication of a zone of spiders. One of the Red Widows made chittering noises that echoed throughout the chapel, and a bunch of spiders just came up out of the woodworks, crawling absolutely every which way but loose, and has engulfed Morocon and Thora. And we will be beginning combat with Morocon. Unfortunately, anybody that starts its turn within the zone takes 10 points of poison damage, grants combat advantage, and must make a free melee basic attack against themselves as they seek to smash and kill the spiders crawling all over them. And so, ladies and gentlemen, how about a little combat music?
Bring it.
So do I need to roll to hit myself now?
All right. Here we go. So we will go ahead and start out. Morocon, you take 10 points of poison damage as you are stuck in this swarm of spiders. Now you got to roll to attack yourself, friend.
Oh.
No.
No! Is it what your face says it is?
Oh no.
No!
No.
Okay.
Back it up.
No!
We're good. We're good.
Okay,
We're
so
good.
you didn't back it up?
No.
All right, I'm now sharing the battle map. Can everybody see the battle map?
But it's full damage though, right?
Well, if you backed up the crit...
No, I didn't.
You didn't back up the crit. It's not full damage.
Okay, it's just a hit?
It is indeed just a hit.
Okay, because Ooh, that would have been so bad, guys.
All right, roll some damage for yourself, Morocon.
Just melee basic?
Just melee basic.
Of all the days.
Did you roll max damage?
No.
I sure did.
So you critted yourself anyway. Okay. All right, so Morocon, what kind of a hit is it as you're slamming these spiders, trying to get them off of you as they try to fight you?
Okay, so basically, I've got spiders crawling all over me. This whole evening has just not gone the way I was hoping.
Yeah, no.
And I'm really freaked out. And so I'm just, like a couple of them crawl up onto my head and I'm just like sucker punching myself.
It's like the movie Liar Liar. I'm kicking my... Okay.
Yes.
Very nice. Okay. Morocon, that's a free action that you get to beat on yourself, and the 10 poison. So you've taken quite a bit of damage here on this turn. It is now your turn. What would you like to do? You are immobilized, which means you cannot leave your square, but otherwise you are good to go.
Okay. Well, Thora, I apologize in advance, but
It's fine.
I'm going to channel Divinity now. So now that this place is now that this chapel is sanctified, I'm going to go ahead and channel Divinity.
Okay.
I will clutch my holy symbol and Amina, set ablaze all those who stand in your path. And so
sorry, Thora. Morocon bursts into not flame, but he bursts into a miniature sun doing quite a bit of damage to everyone around him. Moralcon, how's that damage work? Remind us.
It's just radiant damage. So whoever starts their turn within my aura takes 1d6 plus 3 radiant damage.
Okay. Well,
Just
Thora,
be grateful you're not undead, Thora, because that would be 1d6 plus 3 times 2.
Ooh.
No, it's vulnerable 5. Never mind.
Yeah. There's good
Still
news
ouchy.
and there's bad news, Thora. Okay. The good news is Moralcon manages to wipe out all of the spiders around you as they go up in like little wisps of smoke. Like you just hear the Red Widow in front of you, this bulbous large spider goes little Shelob noises back as it recoils from the light. But Moralcon, you still have a standard and a move.
I do. Well, no, I don't have a move because I am afeared.
But you still have a move action, my friend. You just can't move from your square.
Ah, cool. Well then, I will. I will Brand of the Sun, this big red Shelob in front of me.
Poor Jerica.
Right. Yeah, I was searching my notes for her name and I couldn't find it in time.
Jerica and her sister Mika Duranya. She just wanted a little love and bodily fluid.
No. Not allowed.
No.
Okay, so this is against AC. Oh man, that's not great. So a 21 versus AC.
That is a swing and a big miss. You come swinging in with this flaming fist, or like some of the light in your aura coalesces and it's even brighter around your fist for a minute, and you swing for her, but she bats your fist aside with one of these huge long legs of hers.
Okay.
All right,
Thora, are you under any effects, Thora, at all?
I don't believe
Odelia,
so.
are you?
I do not think so.
Is Anduriel under any effects? I guess that doesn't matter because he's not around. So
at the moment, not in a minute. In a minute, Anduriel is going to be occupied.
Yeah. So the butler's going to make an appearance.
He might.
So, okay. Well, I chose that so that an ally could make a saving throw. But I guess I just make a saving throw then, because I can't use my move action to attack again, can I?
Nope, not unless you have an action like your fire breath that can be done as a minor or a move.
Right. Yeah. So I guess I'll just move to save now.
All right, make your save.
11.
Friend.
11. I saved.
All right, Moralcon, you are no longer trembling in fear, and you find that you can move your legs again. Which may have been what caused you to miss right there. You were unable to, fighting is all about movement, right? You were unable to get into position. So
right.
Yeah, there we go. All right, that is the end of
Moralcon's
turn. Very nice. All right, now it is the Red Widow's turn. Moralcon, please roll your radiant damage.
That would be 7 radiant damage.
All right. Thora, we'll do that on your turn, but you will take 7 radiant damage. You may as well mark it off now. It's just easier to save time. All right. So the Red Widow takes 7 radiant damage at the beginning of her turn, and now she has already used her Silken Tomb power and Spider Affinity, which means that she is kind of running out of tricks here. So what she is going to do is shift back 1 square and skitter over 7. Right, she was right here. So she's gonna go shift 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, and then Moralcon, she doesn't like you. She is going to, what is she going to do? She is going to spit a jet of web at you with her action.
Does Thora
And-
grant me partial cover?
Not so much. If she were not large, I would totally give you partial cover. But she can quite easily see around you. Plus, you're like 10 times bigger than Thora, so she's got pretty good aim at you. So unfortunately for her, that's a 22 versus your reflex. Does that hit?
Ooh. So that is exactly what my reflex is.
Well, John C. Crapper. Okay. I don't suppose that you have anything. I know everybody's got Odelia's blessing on them right now, and you have Fighting Fury going, I have written down. But I don't think that gives
Right.
you any bonuses to your AC, so she hits you. Now,
Right.
the good news, Morocon, is that it doesn't do any damage. The bad news is that she pulls you 1, 2, 3. Double check here. Yeah, she can only slide you 3.
Hey, good news, Thora. You're out of my aura now.
But you are also restrained, Morocon, and knocked prone, save ends. So once again, you are immobilized and stuck in your square, and in a bad way overall. So she spits this gout of web, and Thora, you're like, oh, you duck, and it gets Morocon as you duck, and you bat some of the webbing aside with your staff, and it hits you, Morocon, and she yanks you off your feet and pulls you closer to her. But as she does so, you get even more tangled up. You like try to break out, and you're like, and you find that you are restrained and immobilized, so you're stuck. That was her move, and so she shifted and moved with her standard action and spit. So her turn is done, and now it is the other Red Widow, and she decides that she wants to summon up a little spider swarm herself. So unfortunately, Miss Odelia, she summons up right around you a swarm of spiders. She does that weird chittering, like, and spiders come up through the floorboards all around you, and they are all over you, Odelia. And at the start of your turn, you are going to take some unpleasant poison damage. And furthermore, she is going to try to use her Silken Tomb power. Actually, she's going to use it on Enduriel. So with JT being gone, I'm going to rule that she wraps him up like a Christmas... Well, I guess you don't wrap up a Christmas turkey, but she wraps you up like a Christmas present, Enduriel. She knocks him off his feet with one of her legs, and then just slowly starts spinning him into a circle, Shelob style, until he is just totally wrapped up in this silken tomb and cannot move. And then she turns to you, Odelia, and summons up these spiders, and she is going to take a movement, and she is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right to here. She moves right over to there, Odelia, and that is going to be her standard and her move. And with her minor action, she is going to spit a web jet at you, Odelia. And unfortunately for her, she only rolls a 16 versus your reflex. Does that hit your reflex, Odelia?
Oh, indeed it does not.
So she spits webbing at you, and how do you evade it?
Am I already covered in spiders?
You are.
Then I just get lucky because I'm so like, wah, about the spiders that I'm like ducking down and it just goes right over the top. Because
Awesome.
I'm just wee.
I got it. So you're covered in spiders, and you do the dance and manage to get away from the spiders. Okay. Alrighty. So that leaves us to the end of the Widow's turn, and now it would be Thora's turn. Thora, you would be stuck in a swarm of spiders, which would be bad for you, but you're not, because Morocon's aura burned them all away. You do, however, take his radiant damage, unfortunately, but Morocon, I think he's out of your aura now. It's aura 1, right?
Yeah.
So actually, you don't take it, Thora, because she moved him and did you a solid. So it is your turn, my friend.
Wonderful.
You are footloose and fancy free.
Before he does anything, I'm going to drop my I'm gonna spend my minor to use knack for success. Maro-Khan, make a save.
Ooh.
One
Get
of
out
the
web,
strongest
Moro-Khan, do it.
one of the strongest utility abilities I have.
And to be honest, I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
All right, I rolled a 16. That saves, right?
Yes, anything over a 10. All right.
Yeah.
So, Thora, you shout out something like, grab the pew, and there's jagged wood, and he rips out of the webs or something. Whatever that
Works
looks
for
like.
me.
Yeah, it works for me too.
So Thora calls out some kind of a command. Who knows what he shouts out? And Moro-Khan, you listen to him, and his good advice manages to rip the webs right off of you, and you are no longer restrained. You are still prone, however. And that's his minor.
For my next trick, Thora is going to move. Let's see. Yeah. So Thora is going to move to G10.
Okay.
And with his standard action is going to cast Devouring Beetles on Jay.
Jerica. Okay.
Jerica, that's it.
We don't want to
First
dehumanize her just because she is no longer a human.
True. Fortitude. Oh. Suddenly can't read. 28.
28. Well, that does indeed hit fortitude.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, nice. I thought I recognized this song. That's 2d6. Not great damage. 12 points of damage. I'm gonna slide her closer to Maro-Khan. She grants combat advantage and has vulnerability 5 till end.
Oh my goodness. So she was, I think, over here. Number 1, 2. So she's halfway on the pew and granting combat advantage and vulnerability. So describe what it looks like, Thora. How does it happen?
So, like a lot of his attacks, he doesn't actually do a lot. Like, he just part of his rope. In this case, let's go with his robotic arm. His robotic arm falls apart into teeny tiny clockwork spiders, which just begin to swarm all over this thing. And in an attempt to get away, she shifts closer to Maro-Khan. But those little metal pincers are really nasty and leave like open wounds that are perfect for hitting.
Very nice. So she is a bug, but metal bugs still freak her out. And so she skitters away from the metal bugs as part of them just kind of rip open her carapace. Love it. Love it. Love the shoes. Love the bag. Everything. Okay, that is Mr. Thor's turn. Now it is Miss Odelia. Miss Odelia, you take 10 points of poison damage.
But resist 4 because of my amulet.
That is right, but you only take 6. And you are granting combat advantage. Unfortunately, you must also make a melee basic attack against yourself as you try to squash the bugs.
Don't crit yourself like Guy did to myself.
I find it very unlikely that I would. Yep, I rolled a 4.
Okay, so swing and a miss.
But do I add my modifiers?
Of course you do. It's a melee basic attack.
It still doesn't.
But I'm pretty sure with a 4, you're not going to hit your AC.
No, I don't hit myself.
Okay. Alrighty, and that is now your turn.
Okay, so can I run out of this square with my movement?
You absolutely can. There is nothing stopping you from leaving the zone.
Okay. I am going to just charge down towards Miss M down here.
Okay. Miss
And-
Mika.
Mika, and I am going to cast Granite Shield.
Okay.
It is a melee attack against Fortitude. And if it hits, I can push the target 3 squares.
Ooh.
I would like to just ram into her and shove her into the hole.
Oh, okay, really? That sounds very Odelia. Go for it. Get her.
Yeah. Okay. I rolled a natural 1.
No.
Oh, no.
I am very angry about this, so I am going to immediately cast Vindictive Surge, which means I get to make an immediate melee basic.
Okay, go for it.
And that's a 30. So,
Ooh, that'll do.
yeah. So that, let's see. Melee basic is 1d10. And that does 15 damage.
Oh my gosh. Ow.
Oh.
All right. So Odelia.
Also the effect, even though I missed, it has an effect that I gain an aura of 2 around until the end of my next turn that resists 5 to all damage to me and my allies.
That's nice. All right, resist 5. So aura 2. Nobody's in the aura right now, but if y'all want to resist 5, just FYI, you might want to move closer to Miss Odelia. All right, love it.
Jeez. Odelia is so wow.
Yeah. She went on that round. So Odelia, you go charging towards her, thinking, and you summon up Granite Shield, so a little bit of elemental earth power fills you as you worship a nature goddess. You can do that. So Odelia, you have this kind of stony aura come up, and you charge her, but she kind of stops you like Lord Helmet in Spaceballs, like with those enormous pinchers, and you realize she does have reach. Where Morocon and Thora are, she can easily reach them with those long blade-like legs of hers. So she stops Odelia right there, and you're like, ugh. But then she makes the mistake of like chittering laughter. You're like, and then you're like, oh, you think that's funny, huh? And you hack off one of her legs. And she shrieks, and ichor squirts everywhere, and she's only got 7.5 of those legs now, and she's a little bitter about that. So we'll see what she does on that turn. And Duriel squirms under a lot of webbing, and begins to look like he's losing, like he's getting drowsy or something. So who knows what's going on? But maybe the web is poison also. None of you have been hit by their Silken Tomb power. And that would be the end of Miss Odelia's turn. Backward to the top. Morocon, it is your turn, my friend.
All right.
First things first, are you going to use your minor action to sustain your sunlight aura?
I sure am.
Okay, so you got to move in a standard.
Yep. And I would like to shuffle over a couple of squares.
All right. Well,
a jaunty little stroll over to Jerica there.
All right. She will not enjoy you coming over, but okay.
Okay. And I hit her.
Hey, I hit her with much feast.
Yes. I summon light in my fist and I punch hardly. I'm gonna do warning strike because I am running out of things to do. So
well, you did have a major battle and then get into another one, so you do tend to run out of spells.
Right. Okay, no, I don't want to use that dice. That one critted against myself. We'll do you. Okay, that's not bad. Oh, it's AC though. 23.
Unfortunately, that is a miss.
No.
I mean, you have combat advantage, don't forget.
Oh,
so that is a 26 or 25, which is still a miss.
Oh.
We are fighting Paragon level monsters, my friends.
Man. Oh,
And these
Well,
happen to be soldiers. So
Does the,
of the soldier type.
does the effect, since I missed, does the effect still take effect or does it
If
not?
it says effect on your character sheet, it happens whether you hit or not.
Okay, well, till end, whenever she shifts or makes an attack that does not include me, I get an attack of opportunity +4.
Dang.
Ooh. Well, Morocon, she's not really aware of that, and it is her turn. And she wants to use a ranged attack on you. So she actually does shift away from you to avoid an attack of opportunity. So she starts skittering backwards, and you can tell she's about to spit that web at you again.
But as she shifts, I get to hit her. That's it's a better roll than before. That's a 29 versus AC.
That will do, Pig.
Yeah.
That'll do.
And it's just melee basic, right?
She has vulnerability 5.
Thank you very much, Thora.
Oh yeah, she also takes 5 more radiant damage since she started her turn in my aura.
And she has vulnerability, so it's 10.
So that's 10.
Ooh, bad damage roll. I rolled a 1 on damage. So it's a 10, 14. Nope. Plus Stone Fist because I didn't use it before. So it's actually 20 damage.
How is that 20 damage?
So I'm in Fighting Fury stance, which is an extra 4 damage. And then Stone Fist, which is +6, so there's 10. And then I rolled
your normal damage bonus.
My normal damage bonus, right? So I rolled.
Okay.
It's my normal damage bonus is a +9 on melee basic, and I only rolled a 1 on that.
Oh my god!
10 plus 10 is 20 damage.
You thug, you monk thugs. That's what you are.
Oh, and +5 because she's vulnerable 5.
All right, so Morocon, she tries to skitter away from you.
Geez.
Describe what it looks like as you get to her.
Okay, so I hop up. I'm still glowing, and I run up, and just I swing and a miss with my warning strike, but the glow that effect still hops onto her. But yeah, so she's all freaking out and skittering away. And I'm just like, no. And I do like a sweep the leg Johnny type of thing.
I love it.
So sweep the leg as she's going down, just
okay. So she gets a dragon punch after you sweep the leg. Morocon, right. You not only sweep the leg, you snap off one of her legs also. And then you uppercut and you knock out one of her mandibles and you knock out like one of her eyes. Like you smash it to pulp on her face. And she's skittering backward like skittering backward. Morocon, she can't barely move at this point. And the other spider, Mika, who was pretending to be her sister, lets out a shriek of rage that kind of hurts Odelia's ears over there. As you go doing. And that is the end of Morocon's turn, I believe. Yes.
So I guess Jerica's looking pretty rough now, right?
If somebody pees on her, that'll take her out. I mean, that she can't, So again, it's just not gonna last. So that's where Jerica. She
6.
Looks like she just does not have much left in her. Maybe one more hit might do her in.
It's her turn now too, right?
It is her turn, but she's not. Thankfully for her, she's not in your aura. So she is going to hit you with Widow's Surprise, Morocon, or she's going to try to. And does a 26 hit your AC, Morocon?
26 hits everything on me.
Yeah, I was afraid of that. All right, Morocon. She takes 2 of her pinchers, 2 of those long daddy long legs like legs, and they come out of the side, and you don't even see them coming, and they both stab into your sides, and you take 27 points of damage and ongoing poison damage 10.
Oof.
So she clearly injects some kind of poison through those clacking legs of hers as she pierces the side, and she is also going to spit her web jet at you. And she rolls a 1, so she spits it onto Anduriel. You duck, and Anduriel gets gooed even more. Now Anduriel is like stuck to the wall, and he's stuck. He's like, just generally not doing well under there, and looking like he's not moving much at this point.
Well,
So-
I am officially bloodied.
That would be your turn, or her turn, and I think she is gonna move away because I don't think she wants to die so much. She has a climb speed, which means she will go up 1, 2, then she will move 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 up onto the stage that is kind of made out of rotting wood, but still seems to be solid enough to hold a 300-pound spider, or however big she is. And that's going to be her turn. The other one has Odelia right in front of her, who just took a vindictive cut on her, and she is going to do the same thing. She's going to use Widow's Surprise. And Odelia, does a 17 does a 19 hit your AC?
No, it does not.
So Odelia, you watch Morokhan get pierced from the side when she just kind of ejects these side legs, right? So they come for you, and you're like, no! And you whack them out of the way with 2, deft deflections from your Hellfire Lance. And that is unsuccessful. And she is going to shift 1 square away with her movement. And she is going to spit her web jet at you also. And does a 22 hit your reflex, Odelia?
Oh, yeah.
Odelia, she hits you with this web jet. And when she does so, she pulls you 1, 2, 3 squares, Odelia. You are, unfortunately, restrained and knocked prone, save ends. But we have a rule in 4th edition when you go over the edge that there's the possibility, if you make a saving throw, that you can catch the edge of a surface before you fall. So make a saving throw, Odelia.
What's the modifier?
There is no modifier.
I go over the edge then. That's
Okay, what did you get?
7.
Okay.
That's the sound I make.
Yeah, Odelia, trussed up as you are, you take 17 points of falling damage as you crash down 3 squares into a pile of wood and broken pews and webs. You are messed up down there, Odelia, in that nasty pile in a bad way. And that would be the end of her turn. Thora Mikitas, it would be your turn, my friend.
Okay. So, out of curiosity, can you quote unquote split movement? So like while I'm moving, can I pass something? Can I do like a minor action and then
that is
continue
the
moving?
province of the rogue, usually doing things in the middle of a movement. But if you want to throw something as a minor action at some point, you can describe it. You tell me what you're thinking about doing.
Well, I'd like, as I'm passing Morokhan, I want to pass him a good berry because I have 2 left.
I see no problem with that.
Okay. So Thora is going to move to L5, and as he passes Morokhan, he's going to give him one of the good berries. For context, it gives you 10 temporary hit points, 10 hit points, or you can make a save on consuming it.
All right. Thora, what square were you in? You were in G10?
Yes.
So we're gonna go.
One.
The
two,
pew is
three.
difficult terrain here, my friend. But you can go through.
Oh.
But you can go through Morocon Square. You can move through friendly squares. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm gonna need you to make a climb check for me, my friend.
What is that? Just strength?
It's just athletics, an athletics check. Yeah, strength.
16?
That's more than enough. It's not
Okay.
hard to climb up this stage. So with your last 2 squares of movement, you are up on the stage at the end of your movement. That's as far as you can get.
Okay. Not as close as I was hoping, but still within range because blasts.
Coldness.
Yeah, we're going with that. One, two. No, I actually have to go with my longest range one. Okay. Swarm of scarabs it is. Fortitude. Oh, wait, no, this one's against reflex. Uh-oh, they're spitters. Ooh, but with a 19 on die.
It doesn't matter.
That is a 31.
That's swinging a hit, dude.
Okay.
And her.
Please.
That is 13 damage. Yeah.
Okay. Thora, what is the power called?
It's called Swarm of Scarabs.
All right, describe what it looks like as your swarm of scarabs slays Jerica.
We're gonna continue talking about the Mummy because I rewatched it recently. Think
movie.
Amenhotep when he just like opens his arms and just clouds of the things fly out of him. It is disgusting. And you can't really see Jerica until the spell subsides, and it's just like an empty exoskeleton.
Yucky, yucky,
Ew.
yucky. But Thora, on the plus side, you're probably feeling a little bit more well-fed at the moment. So
Honestly, a little bit.
swarms of scarabs go over Jerica and leave nothing but, exoskeleton carapace as the gooey parts of her get devoured by your beetle swarms. Very nice. And Jerica is no more. Morocon, that's one woman that Madrigal doesn't have to worry about competing with. So
I can't
Ooh,
decide how
so
I feel
sad.
about
Very
that.
nice. Miss Odelia, you are in a bad way. You are restrained down there, which means you cannot leave your square until you save. But if you have any ranged power, and you're prone, so you got to get up from prone position. So if your move action, do you get up with prone?
Yes.
All right, you now have a standard and a minor. Do you have any ranged powers that you might use against her, or do you just want to try to climb out?
I'm just gonna try and climb out for my action.
Okay, gonna need to make an athletics check for us. Gonna be a little bit of a higher DC, but you're trained in athletics, if I recall.
Oh, I'm getting out of here. This is a 19 on the die.
Okay,
Ooh.
very nice.
Plus whatever.
So the DC was 22, but you got a 30 something. So Odelia, describe what it looks like as you just go abounding out of this pit.
Well, there's all this debris and these broken pews and stuff, but it's
And
just,
web.
it's arranged in such a way that Odelia can see a quick way out, and she just springs right out like it's NBD.
Okay, very nice. Everything looks like American Ninja Warrior course to Odelia, and so she just leaps off the top of the pew, goes bounding, and winds up over here. I need you to make
She uses the lance as like a pole vault for the lance.
Very,
Get her
very
up over
nice.
the edge.
Very nice. So off she goes. All right, I need you to make a save versus the restrained condition.
That's a 9.
Okay, so unfortunately, Odelia, you managed to kind of, with as restrained as you were, pull yourself up and vault yourself over, but you're still stuck in that square, which is unfortunate. You're stuck in the square because you can't get the webbing off, and it sticks you there. But you do manage to climb out of the hole, and that is Odelia's turn, unfortunately. Because she stood, moved, get up, and then her standard was moving. So that leaves us back over the top with Moro the Con.
Okie dokie. So, I know I've asked this before, but I don't remember what the answer was. So, I have one encounter power left. It is my Paragon power, the Divine Sun.
Well, first things first, are you going to use your minor to keep channeling your divinity aura?
I am.
Okay.
This is my last turn to use it, so.
All right.
So I'm going to use my minor to do that. My move action is I'm going to use the Divine Sun move action.
All right.
Where I teleport 8 squares.
Ooh.
And right up next to Mika there. So do I get to use the Divine Sun attack now, or is it just the?
Yep.
Excellent. Oh,
that's how it
excellent.
works.
Because that one targets Will.
Oh, get her.
Ooh.
Will is her lowest defense.
That was my sincerest hope. It's a 9. It's a 30 versus Will.
That'll do. That'll do, pig.
Okay. So that is 3d6 plus 9.
Don't forget your stone fist.
Oh, don't worry. I didn't forget yet. Okay, so 15.
Don't forget Fighting Fury.
Oh, I haven't forgot that either. So 15 plus 9 is
24.
24 plus Fighting Fury and Stone Fist is 34.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay, I guess.
Right.
Ladies and gentlemen, the monk is a striker class. All right, Morikon, you friggin' take her to pieces, dude. First of all, what does it look like when you teleport? Is there a flash of sunlight, or what does it look like?
So basically, I look at Thora and give him an approving nod, and then I basically a portal gun right beneath my feet, hop down, jump straight up right next to Mika with my Divine Fist just glowing, and just Iron Man punch just straight down on her.
Okay. You shatter her carapace from over top, and your fist goes right through her, and she lets out just a last chittering.
I'll take it.
And that is the end of all of the monster spiders, ladies and gentlemen.
Woo!
Oh my gosh.
The Red Widows have been taken out. You also take 10 points of poison damage, Morikon.
Oh, geez. I consume the good berry.
I eat the fruit. I do.
Yes.
Thoro will run over and give his last good berry to Odelia, by the way.
Not a terrible
and then,
idea.
yeah, I'm going to healing word myself, and then, yeah, use a couple other healing surges to get myself back.
All right. Not a terrible idea. Okay, so silence kind of descends upon the chapel as you all go smash your way through these Red Widows, and their bodies do not seem to revert at all, which is not a huge surprise, given that Thora, you made a really high nature check the last time. This was actually their true form. Their ability to transform into beautiful women is just kind of a secondary form they use to lure in their prey. And so they're dead in their natural form. There is no reverting. and their silence settles on the chapel. You're still sitting there in that soft candlelight that came up when you consecrated, and there is still, despite the violence that has taken place in the chapel, there is still a sense of pervading holy energy. And it's kind of a relief, because once you realized that you couldn't reach your deities as powerfully as you are normally capable of doing, being able to sit here in this chapel and feel your holy symbol channel the conduit of full energy that you have the potential to do is quite a comfort, as you kind of settle in here. So would you like to then try to take the long rest that you initially wanted to take?
I think that's wise.
So Morokhan's a little shaken up by the events of the evening. So I will say, okay, you guys go ahead and I'll take first watch, because I don't think it's a good idea that we I don't think it's a good idea that we just go to sleep now. So
Yeah.
I will go ahead and take first watch, as I'm a little bit jittery.
That's respectable. That's fair, is what I'm going to say.
It's
That's what that
logical,
is.
right?
Yeah, I'm going to say that that's fair. So, all right. Okay, so Morokhan, you take first watch, and you guys just gonna leave the spider where they are. You're gonna dump them anywhere. You're gonna throw them out the front. You're gonna throw them like in the pit. What's the plan? You gonna leave them there or curl up in the corner?
I think I'm actually going to try to. If I'm taking first watch, I'm going to see if I can try to find. I'll loot the bodies and try to find, explore down in that pit and just see if there's anything worth having.
Okay. All right, Morokhan, while you're taking the first watch, Odelia and Thor, are you guys gonna curl up somewhere in the chapel?
I'm gonna try and get Anduriel out of the spider webs.
That was nice. I was wondering if any was gonna know. Okay, so Odelia, you come up to Anduriel and you realize that he's not breathing.
To be fair, that's kind of that's on par for undead.
So I don't know if Odelia's initial reaction is, he's not breathing.
Yeah. Odelia says, is this normal? He's not breathing, but I don't know how vampires work.
Morokhan's hollering from the other side of the chapel, he's fine.
And Morokhan, you would know that, and probably Thora too, because that's your business also. Yeah, Anduriel doesn't breathe. So not unless he has to speak or something else. So him, when he sleeps, it's really quite disturbing because he just looks dead when he sleeps. And so whatever was done to him, he looks like he is just out. So being in that silken web, and Odelia, as you cut the web off of him, the web drips with some kind of poison on it. And if you want, you can make a nature check, but I don't think you're trained in nature, are you?
Oh, yes, I am actually.
You can make a nature check to see what kind of poison it is.
Oh, that's a 26.
Okay,
Ooh.
Beautiful. So Odelia, you kind of take a whiff, a whiff of the poison on there, and you touch it, test just a drop of it, see how it touches your skin and contact, and you realize it is a contact poison, but it seems unique. It's definitely some kind of sleeping poison. And Anduriel will probably be fine, but he's gonna have to sleep it off. And so who knows? And what you think also is that because he was left in the web so long, that he's absorbed too much of the poison, and it's gonna have to filter its way out of his body before he wakes up. So you might be dealing with a Sleeping Beauty scenario here, because he's going to have to detox. So you're going to have to find some place to stick him, or Morokhan's going to be carrying him around and swatting him on the butts more. I
think he's just out again. He was only awake for a minute.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he'll wake up, I'm sure.
Poor Anduriel. Who knows?
I had to look up really quick because this was on my word of the day calendar. That is a somnolent.
Ooh, somnolent. Love it.
Yep.
Huh.
Love it. They that word in D&D is frequently used with snake powers. Like there's a spell in third edition called Solemnant Gaze or Somnolent Gaze. And I'm not even sure if that's D&D or Sword and Sorcery, but I remember my character had it. And it was all like you stare at them and then they get like, so beautiful. See here on Ravenloft, Vanity's Bloodsong, you can even add to your vocabulary. It's good for children. This is why kids should play D&D in school. Moving on.
Got a new friend.
Oh, is that a mimic?
It's
That's-
a mimic disguised as a pie
Yes.
figure.
That's awesome. I love it. And it's a Minsk and Boo piece.
Yeah,
But-
it's got the Minsk and Boo stuff on it.
Absolutely lovely.
That's awesome.
And here on Ravenloft Vanity's Bloodsong, we shamelessly peddle stuff that we don't get paid to endorse. That's not beautiful.
Stays on
Okay.
my desk.
I need a potty break. I'll be right back.
Absolutely no problem whatsoever. So Odelia is going to take a brief potty break.
Do I need to make a recording?
Yeah, that's fine. I'll resume recording now. Moralcon, go ahead and make a perception check if you would, please.
All right. 18.
Okay, 18 total.
Yeah, total.
Okay, so Moralcon, you deftly hop down into the second level because you're trained in acrobatics, right?
Athletics.
Athletics, yeah. So it's not even a DC 10 for you to drop down safely. The basement of this chapel is, or the second, the bottom floor, whatever you want to call it, it is an absolute horrible mess of broken chapel, of broken pews, rotted wood, rotted floorboards. But as you look deeper, down there with the light that's being shed, you can see a few bodies that have been stuck in the web, and they are fully desiccated, my friend. So you would have to, and so you can see, but the thing is, there aren't very many, as you can tell, human corpses. There are, however, quite a number of smaller, there's like some goats, there's some bats, and you get a real good idea that these widows were not feeding well, from what you're looking at right here. There's slim pickings around here, given how big of a size they were as large creatures, and then given what little prey you see caught up in their webs. If this is where they're keeping all their prey, they were not eating well at all, which may explain why they went after you, even though they were outnumbered.
Because I was a hefty meal.
You are a big piece of dragonborn flesh. That's what you
It's
are.
true. Well then.
I'm a snack.
You would have we morsel, but they would have
Snack.
used you as an hors d'oeuvre, Odelia.
We've got a snack, we've got a thick ribeye, and we have like a Slim Jim.
Yeah.
Yes.
But unfortunately, it did not work out for them.
Ariel's a dark chocolate dessert.
Yes. And Duriel, who is sleeping beauty.
Tiramisu.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Ooh, it's getting hot in here. Okay. So
Oh my.
poor
But
Ginger.
there's no. If I were to glow up my fire flower, would I be able to get a little more light to see?
Oh, yeah.
If there's anything
Mhm.
else down there, then I will do that.
Okay, go for it.
So roll again.
Yeah, you can make another
Okay.
perception check now that you have increased your light source.
Ooh, better roll. It's 22.
Ooh, that's exactly what you needed, my friend. All right, Moralcon,
Nice.
a glint of emerald, like flickering emerald, just catches your eye as you're looking over on one of the human corpses.
Well, then let's go check this out.
All right, so you go ripping some things away, Moralcon, right there. You just kind of rip some of the webbing away, and you see clutched in the hand of one of these corpses is a little well, not little, but a beautiful emerald encrusted flute of some kind. um it's just absolutely beautiful. It looks as though it has been carved into the shape of a serpent. But it's not a malign serpent. You know, sometimes you might see a representation of snakes and sometimes they look vicious. This doesn't look vicious, it just looks artistic. And there aren't, you know, emeralds in the eyes, but at lengths along the, you know, the portholes where you would place your fingers, there are emeralds encrusted between them. And the way that it's being held by the person, you almost kind of felt like they were, you know, holding it up like a talisman when they got hit with the web. You know, like it's like they're holding it up like this, like a shield or something. So in any case, are you trained in Arcana, Moroccan?
Arcana? Not even close.
All right.
Can I make a religion check on it? Because I can do that.
You can actually make a religious check on it if you would like.
Okay. Because yeah, I have a +10 to religion checks, and 21.
Okay. So Moroccan, you can't for sure tell if it's magic or not, but it's giving off a distinct aura of divine energy. This piece, whatever it is a holy talisman of some kind. And you look at the symbols that are kind of, you know, etched into the wood of the flute, and you can make a religion check, or actually you already made your religion check. So the symbols that are etched into this flute, there are multiple deities, which is kind of a thing that is not very modern in terms of the world of Ienia that you come from. In the world of Ienia that you come from, the churches kind of, they all function with their own deity, right? Now, there are some religious orders that may worship more than one deity, but
they're
that's
all their
kind of
separate sect of whatever it is that they practice.
Yeah, there's usually one deity per temple, you know, unless there's a deity. But what you see on here are multiple symbols of some of the gods of nature. You see there's a symbol on there for a demi-power called Melodia, who is the goddess of music. And there's also symbols on there of Finhefara, and there are some symbols on there of the wind god Soroku, who is Finhefara's child. And there are also symbols on there of her child Florin, who is the god of plants and magical animals. So it looks like this was some kind of collaboration, this creation between the goddess of music, or the demigoddess of music, and some of the gods of nature. But in any case, it's got a very solid aura of holy power coming off of it. But of course, it would take time and an Arcana check to figure out how to get this bad boy to work.
Okay, well, everyone else is asleep at this point, right?
Well, I don't know if everyone else has gotten to sleep yet. I think they were like,
because it took me some time to go and explore that pit, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, you were down there for a little bit.
Okay. I'm gonna poke my head up and see if the others are asleep, if they're out for the night, and I'm just officially just on watch now.
You tell me if Thora and Odelia have managed to fall. I mean, you're probably exhausted, having just battled your way through a mob of vampires, run for your life, and then battled these giant red widows. So do you think Thora and Odelia have fallen asleep yet, or are they just like, what? Did you hear that?
Odelia would have made sure that Handsome Barrett was still okay.
Yeah,
and
he
had him settled down and fallen asleep before she.
I keep forgetting that he's in tow.
Yeah. Well, he's not in tow. He's under a pew, and just shaking under a pew. So Odelia, you go to check on Handsome Barrett, and he's like, just like, oh my gosh, like seawolves, vampires, giant spiders from Mars. Like, handsome Barrett is just a mess of nerves right now. So you come over and you just kind of lean over, and as you pop down, he looks at you and he goes like, ah! Like just sees you and screams. And then he sees that it's you, and he's like, are they gone? Are they are they gone? Are they gone?
Yes, we defeated them. Don't you worry one bit. And Odelia will try and get him settled down, and even like see if he'll let her hold him in her lap and like sing him a lullaby and stroke his hair, and she's going full mom.
All right, let's make a diplomacy check, Odelia.
Go to sleep.
Let's see how successful you are at calming him.
What kind of check?
Diplomacy.
I only rolled a 5, but that is a 16.
That you're trained. That's the benefit of being trained, right? Mm-hmm. So Odelia, after a brief story, and you're like, let me tell you a story. He's like, no spiders or wolves or vampires, and it happens during the day, and it's bunnies. Like,
I'm going to tell him a story about when I was a wee child, and about the meadow that I used to play in with my brothers and sisters when I was a wee child, and about how there were the cutest bunnies that lived in the meadow, and we used to chase them around, and they would go and hide under the trees, and we would go and find them. And she just talks in a very soothing, quiet voice. You can tell that she has done that. Like, this is her home turf. She has put excited kids to sleep before.
I would probably give you advantage on this roll, Odelia. If you were to have a specialty in diplomacy, I would bet that it's probably childcare. So from now on, Odelia, if you want to cite me on that, you get advantage with childcare rolls on diplomacy. And then there's Morocons. Who was the one who made the intimidate check on the kid? Was that you, Morocon? Or was that our other campaign?
That was the other campaign.
Yeah.
No,
yeah,
I am trained in. Yeah, I'm trained in diplomacy in this campaign.
There we go.
But yeah,
all right.
I'm intimidated in the other campaign.
Gotcha. And have successfully. All right. So Odelia, you do manage to get him off, and the last thing he mumbles as he falls asleep in your lap, which he takes up amply. If you weren't so strong and didn't have like thick mama muscles, you'd probably have a hard time like keeping him there, but you've got him, and he's there, and he's in your lap, and you rock him, and you're like, I lift, so this isn't a problem. Like, and you get him off to sleep.
Arm day.
Yeah, don't skip arm day. So you get him off to sleep, and the last thing he whispers as he kind of falls off to sleep is something about rabbit stew. It's good, He's like, are we gonna have rabbit stew then? And then he's out, like at that point, and he's gone. So Odelia, you drift off, I imagine, in a corner or on a pew with him afterwards. Thora, does Thora fall asleep easily, or is he tripping?
He's out.
Yeah. he's like, whatever, I do bugs.
It's bugs. He doesn't care.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, so you guys, Moralcon, are you gonna wake somebody for the rest, or are you just gonna go to sleep? And
so what I'm going to do is I will first I'm gonna read like the last rites to whatever sentient dead beings are down there, and burn everything down there.
You're gonna set a fire in the basement.
I'll burn like the bodies and stuff. Like I'll like try to.
You're gonna make a funeral pyre in the center of the chapel that you just congregated. That's your plan. Okay.
Well, I mean, I've got
Odelia, you and Thora wake up to nice crispy bacon.
Spider bacon. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Spiders.
So if they don't wake up, I'm going to take the flute, and I'm going to try to lay it gently like on Thora's chest, and then try to remain to finish the rest of my watch.
Yeah.
Until and so that I can still get my full night's rest. I will wake up Thora eventually and just say, okay, your turn. I need to get my dailies back.
Okay. So Thora,
Of
he wakes you
course,
up after
please, have
probably
your
about
rest.
3 or 4 hours. And Thora, you wake up with a curious object on your chest. Could you make a religion check?
Could I? Yes, indeed. 26.
Ooh, very nice. So Thora, you identify all of the same things that Morokhan did. This is some kind of a holy artifact. And what is unusual about it is that most of the holy artifacts that are crafted now are unique to one god, which is how most of the churches are set up now. But this seems to be some kind of a collaboration, perhaps from an earlier day in Enia's past, when the gods were more understood to be worshipped as a pantheon as opposed to worshipped individually. And maybe it was because they were trying to spread word of the new deities who replaced the forgotten gods, the ones who came to rescue the world. And so that would be the deities who went into creating this, or to whom this flute was consecrated, were the gods of nature, Finhefara, and her children, Florin, the god of plants and magical animals, and also Soroku, the wind god, who are both her children. And also, you identify the symbol of the demigoddess of music, Melodia. And so there's some kind of holy power that is emanating off of this strongly. But you're going to need somebody who's trained in Arcana. You can tell there's power in this thing, but you're like, I'm not quite sure how to attune to this.
That's not me.
And I don't think no one here is a trained musician, as far as I know, but we do have an arcanist.
Yes.
So
Right.
But
Well, no one's a
she's
trained musician,
resting.
but before I go to sleep, I'm going to ask Thora if he knows anything about it, because it's got a bunch of nature, like a nature deities and stuff on this. Because I don't know that you're not trained in Arcana, so yeah.
I mean, could I make like a history check to see if like what the collaboration like if there's history of these deities working together in some way, shape, or form, or the clergy working together in some way, shape, or form?
The DC is going to be exceptionally high, but I will let you make the check. I mean, you might have read in an obscure scroll in the back of somebody's chest, underneath the floorboards of a toilet kind of convention. I don't know.
I found it in my neighbor's van.
I'm gonna use this one. It's the first episode of the new season of Critical Role, so I'm going with the Critical Role die. Here we go. If I'm not trained, it's half my level plus
and your intelligence modifier.
Well,
that's a 0.
Half your level, bro.
Oh, blessed.
And as I search for level, because
you're level 11, so it's 5.
Okay. 22.
Okay. So 22 is pretty high. It's not high enough to pinpoint this artifact in particular.
Okay.
But what you do know is that there were a lot of priests of the nature gods who traveled, and they did a lot more collaboration with the gods who were more community based, so you have deities like Hemina and Finhefara, who are nature priests, priests of the elements, the sun, the earth. And they did a lot of traveling and still do a lot of traveling, as the earth is their home, But you also have gods who are more commerce and city based, like Melodia, who is the goddess of music, and Bestera, who is the goddess of communities and civilization, and things like that. And so they tend to be stationary. So what this means, what you can tell with your 22, is that this holy relic is old. It is old. It is from a time when things were constructed by teams of priests who haven't worked together since the founding of the Divine Fellowship. Like what we've done is much newer. So whatever this thing is, it is at least 500 years old, if not more, meaning it dates back to the Shattering era, when the world was falling apart and the gods came to restore the laws of nature. So it's old. It likely is powerful. It's getting off a pretty modest aura, but like I said, you need someone trained in Arcana who's going to be able to take time to study this, play around with it, maybe blow a happy tune. We also have no bards among us, but that doesn't mean somebody could not be trained to play a song on it. So
True.
Got things going on.
In that case, he will before Marocon turns in and he asks that question, Thora will say, "This is honestly older than anything I'm familiar with. It's older than I am, which is saying something. It shows that this might be from the original fellowship."
He's old. So,
all right,
really
170.
Yeah.
Well, Thora, I'll hand this back to you, but let me try to whistle a tune real quick. Because I recognize some of the deities on here, and I'm just gonna see if I can test it out. I'm gonna see what happens, because these are friendly deities.
All right, Moral Con.
Do I need to make a performance check, or
you do need to make a performance check. So here's how we're going to take this. Performance is not really a skill that is included in 4th edition. I customize it. If a character wants to take the performance skill, I'll let him take it, and I'll set my own DCs based on that. So what this is to you, Moral Con, is basically a charisma check. You may add half your level and your charisma modifier.
Ooh, guess what Dragonborns have? Dragonborns have a +2 to charisma.
Ooh, pretty.
Hi.
So what's your total here?
Not that it matters.
Is that a what? A 2? A 9?
Not exactly. So with my +2, that would be an 8.
Okay. Alrighty. So
something wonderful happens that is inexplicable.
Alrighty. Well, Moral Con, you go. Do you remember when I described the unmistakable sounds of a high school band, or of like a junior high band that was being led during revelry as we, entered the town of Port Revalria?
So, yeah. Have you ever heard a chorus of 8th graders that are forced to take a music class, and they're all learning the recorder, and they're all playing hot cross buns badly?
Yeah. So Moral Con, you try to bust out some chopsticks. It doesn't play well. I mean, it's that bad. And Odelia, you wake up to just somebody's torturing a cat. You're not sure.
Just like, shh, the child is sleeping. What are you doing?
Yes, okay. I'll hand it back to Thora.
Sorry. Okay. So Moral Con tries to bust out a tune, but it actually comes out like 7th grade band tuning up. And so unfortunately, nothing seems to happen. I tell you what you feel though, Moral Con, when you do this, other than embarrassment. You play a few notes on this thing, and it feels like it comes alive in your fingers. And I don't mean alive like
no wonder it's so hard to play.
It's not like the hula lady on the dashboard alive, but it just it almost feels like it responds to your movements more than a normal instrument would.
Like it wants to be played.
Well, maybe like it's almost trying to help you, but there's definitely a living energy that comes from what that you feel like from the flute as you play it. But in any case, that is, my friend, what
Well,
you
I'll
managed to find.
hand it back to Thora, and I will say, okay, well, clearly I'm too tired to attempt any of this, so I'm just gonna go to sleep now.
And Thora's in the corner
And
playing with a mimic toy.
and
What?
I am out.
Yeah. All righty. So you get your rest. You wake up Thora. Thora takes his shift, another 4 hours, yada yada yada. And in third edition D&D, you had to have 8 hours of uninterrupted rest, but I'm not rolling that way. No adult that I know gets 8 hours of uninterrupted rest ever. So nobody in the history of D&D would ever get any powers back ever. I find it ridiculous. Also, no parent has ever had 8 hours of sleep uninterrupted. So no. So you cut your 8 hours up, but you do manage to get a full rest. You may erase all of your marks. You get all of your powers back. You manage to sleep through the night. You guys probably aren't going to be waking up bright and early with the dawn. There's probably going to be some rolling over and like taking the robe. No. You do smell some crispy spider, as you know, Moroccan has lit a little fire. It was actually not a terrible thing that he did, because the nights here on the island of Desmare are bitterly cold. This is not a gentle Caribbean island. You are experiencing, this is an island that is up north in kind of colder Canada, frigid temperatures. And as the night falls, that fire does end up stinking the place up significantly, but also it ends up keeping you warm. And Moroccan, who's worshiping the goddess of guidance and travel, in that way, is probably more than skilled at building a travel fire. So we'll assume that he doesn't burn the chapel down.
Right. I mean, I'm not a klutz. I can build a fire.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, you do wake up after an exhaustive kind of night, and everybody's sore, and you didn't sleep in a bed and whatever. But you wake up the next morning, and there's, you hear birds singing in the trees outside of the chapel. It's rather a pleasant sound. The sunlight is coming in through places where, the windows of the chapel are boarded up, just like the door was, but sunlight is coming in through the cracks, and there are holes in the ceiling also that the sunlight is coming in on. So the candles are also still lit, but they've burned down quite a bit to the night, the candles that were left. So there won't be much candlelight left. If you want, you can blow them out and preserve the candles so that you might have light later if you choose to come back to the chapel. Not a bad idea.
You're getting the heck out of this town.
Okay. All right.
I would agree.
Okay. So there are a number of things that you can, or number of places that you can go, things that you can do, leads that you might follow. But I will kind of give you.
Did we ever learn of that lead that Andoriel got?
Which lead were you referring to?
The dream that he had to go and visit that Vistani lady.
I don't know. I don't believe so, because didn't he wake up to combat?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So we would have no idea. So I'm gonna pick him up, heft him over my shoulder, and I think we still need to go try to find this countess. Yes. Make our way to, is it Striganesca that we need to go?
Yeah. So you've heard about the city of Striganesca, because that was part of the conversation that you had in the town. You heard that Striganesca is kind of the city to the north, that if you follow the main road across the river and through the woods, that Striganesca is kind of the bigger city, or the only city. And then there are just some settlements around Striganesca, but it is the big city. So there's that. But as you come out of the abandoned chapel, you see this park, the one that you ran across frantically trying to get to the chapel. and you do see a cluster of houses over there. And the Vistani tent is kind of wedged in between the houses in an alley, but it's just completely in shadow. Just kind of looking, it's kind of odd, for a Vistani tent. They'd probably want to be someplace where customers could get to. But there is a brightly colored yellow Vistani tent that you can see across the park in the shadow of this alleyway, completely blocked by the houses, with a just big red happy tent, whatnot. There are businesses to the south of you. The Divine Dragon Inn, you could go back there. You could go to the gates. There's a number of places you could go. You could go back to the ship. You could explore more of the town. You could just head to the Wilder Gates and leave. It's up to you.
I mean, I don't see a reason for us to stay here. Why don't we go get on the ship and get out of here?
Well, we can't really get on the ship and leave. We were supposed to come here, so...
You were sent here following the lead of the first vampire, Namithet. And I don't know if you could call a town that turns into vampires a lead, but but that is why you've come to the island of Desmare, and you certainly have not accomplished your objective.
Well, I'm not opposed to trying to gather more information from around here, but I would rather not be here when night falls again. So if we can move on to the next town, I think we would probably, well, even then, even if the next town ends up being cursed as well, I would rather find that out then than know that this happens every night. So
you're like, hopefully the next town's cursed isn't this bad.
Right. I would rather not stay in this town and spend another night here if we can.
Hopefully the next town's curse is something like bed bugs or something like.
Did we?
I've had bed bugs. That is not a better curse.
No, maybe not. Did we what, Odelia?
Did we permanently kill anyone in that inn?
Well, funny you should mention.
Trouble in this town.
There was that one guy in the inn that I'm pretty sure we wrecked, right?
Vaporized.
There was the one person Odelia staked with her Hellfire lance that she also set on fire and ended up burning to ash. But everybody else we ran from or locked behind the mirror in the kitchen of the Divine Dragon. So who knows? I mean, you could go back to the Divine Dragon and check in. You could wander back to the ship, and you could just wander the town and make a streetwise check and try to gather information generally. It's up to you.
Do we have stuff back at the inn that we need to go and collect?
You left most of your gear back at the inn in the Divine Dragon. You ran. You grabbed Handsome Barrett and you ran like bloody murder.
Oh, I really don't want to go back, but we probably should to grab our stuff.
At the very least, yeah.
Right.
Well, and I guess maybe they have no memory of what happened to the vampires, and they won't know that it was us.
Well, I don't know. They all seemed pretty antsy right before it happened. So, yeah. Well, tell you what. Let's go back, grab our stuff, and make us. I'm really bad at it, but we can make a streetwise check.
I mean,
see what we can figure.
I don't have any streetwise, but I have insight.
Okay. So, are you guys going to head back to the Divine Dragon? That's the plan?
Yeah, we got to grab our stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to leave anything behind that could be of help to us.
So, surprisingly enough, as you cross Holy Grass Park, and make your way over to the main street, back to the Divine Dragon Inn. You walk through these houses. You pass, several people who are just going about their daily work, and they look at you, and some of them smile at you, and others of them look at you and wave, and everybody tries to be really happy as they look at you, but there's
Tries?
well, everybody seems to be intentionally really happy. Like they see you and there's like, turn on smile, or whatnot. You want to make an insight check?
Insight, please.
All right,
Like
go for it.
Down in WandaVision.
With a natural 7, 24.
Woo!
That's somewhat pretty, Tristan. Okay.
He's good at very few things, but
He's got some
insight is
talents.
one of them.
All right, so you're passing people on, through this housing area and into kind of this one area called the Singer's Circle, which is one of the places where revelry is held, right? There are a few locations where revelry is held in the town at 12 o'clock. And so you've got a blacksmith and a jeweler, and unless I missed my guess here, the bakery where we stopped in and chatted, and everybody's just kind of smiling at you. But some of them see you, and you catch with your 24 some looks of surprise. Like, oh, but then they make sure to smile and wave at you or give a polite nod. I mean, everybody's just very intentionally happy, but you're sensing some, oh, what are you still doing here?
He will pipe up to his friends. They seem to be surprised we're alive, or that at least we're still here.
So you're just kind of reading people, Thora, and you turn over to whisper that, and then you all suddenly see the luthier hurrying towards you that you ran into at the dock, the one who was leading the student band over at the docks during revelry hour, and he is rushing towards you in his nice green coat and trousers and his ruffled white shirt and salt and pepper hair, and he comes running up to you, and well, he doesn't run, but it's like he's trying not to run, but he's obviously hurrying to get to you. And he comes up and looks at all three of you. Do you have Anduriel, or did you leave him in the chapel? Is he just over your shoulder?
Yeah, I'm just carrying him.
All right.
Sack of potatoes style.
Yep.
He makes a few noises, Morocon, like he might be not coming out of it, but there's some semblance of conscious, like he's like, Grace Foster's running away with the milkman. Like, just, kind of like just muttering things, and Poinketh, if you can get that reference, I'll be impressed. But anyway, that being said, he looks at you, comes up, and he says, "You are alive. Praise be to all the gods of light. How did you survive?" No, do not tell me. Here, there are too many prying eyes. Will you come back to my home? Let me give you breakfast. We will talk there. You can meet my daughter, Mariana. She is a treasure, I assure you. And he looks and he's like, please, my house is by the docks, just behind the building with all the instruments. Please come, I beg you.
You have got to be kidding us. This town tried to eat us last night, and you want us to come to your home?
The chapel tried to eat us last night.
All right. He gets this just shadowed expression on his face, and he says, please, we must not speak of this on the street. We must not speak of it anymore. Please come with me. I will answer any questions that you have. You can meet my daughter Mariana.
Is she a giant spider?
Well, she is a teenage girl. I don't know if that qualifies.
The last teenage girl that tried to eat us. So...
And he looks... Okay, so Odelia, are you being quiet, or are you just like speaking normally?
No, she's just saying it. She's over it.
All right. So he looks at you and he goes, shh, no, please. We do not speak of it. He says, please come back to my home with me. All right. And then he looks over your shoulder, Odelia. And he gets a little panicked look on his face. And you hear three people, you hear people approaching you on the street coming up behind you. And I will say also, it is impressive that they came up behind you and you didn't hear them until they're right behind you. And they walk up behind you, and as you turn, which I'm assuming you would turn to see who's come up behind you, you see three exquisitely beautiful women. I don't know if you've ever seen any comic book art of Hippolyta or Wonder Woman. They have these thick black Grecian curls, like Counselor Troy almost. They have these just beautiful, elaborate hair piled up on their heads, curly, black, all three of these ladies. And they're all wearing stylized red dresses. One of them has a red dress that's like spaghetti strap, and then it just kind of hangs on her, and it fits her perfectly. The other one has a single strap over her shoulder and a beautiful red flower kind of over there on one side of the shoulder. And the other one is wearing just kind of a red blouse that's cut off like a midriff, and then a long kind of festive red skirt. But they are absolutely breathtaking to look at. And they remind you a little bit of Anduriel, who you know's good looks are based kind of on his angelic blood. If you want to, you can make a religion check and see if they do have angelic blood or if it's something else. Don't all religion at once.
I am not even trained in it. I'm terrible at religion.
Which is fine.
Oh. Yeah, I rolled poorly. So it's a 12 total.
Thora?
I rolled a 2.
Oh, 26.
Okay. So Thora, you've spent enough time around Anduriel that you've really kind of got a good sense of what angel features look like now. And also sometimes Anduriel, he don't tell JT, but he sparkles a little. He gives off, light and whatnot. Also, the way the light captures Anduriel's features, it's like his jawbone was chiseled out of marble or something. These women don't look supernaturally beautiful. It's all genetics, okay? It's like, oh my gosh, these girls, they don't look related at all. Like they don't look like they're siblings or anything, but they fell out of the beautiful tree and hit every branch on the way down. You're like, you look at one of them and you're like, oh, she has the cutest little upturned nose. And then you're like, but the other one has these striking eyes. And then the third one has a body like you could cook breakfast on, whatever you want to call it. Okay. Like a brick. Yeah. Anyway,
bounce a quarter off those.
You're real good with the smooth talking for the ladies, aren't you?
Yeah, they are supermodel gorgeous, and but it's all genetics. There doesn't seem to be anything supernatural about it. But in any case, they walk up and they say, "Well, you are visitors, are you not? It is so pleased to meet you." And Harrowdane just kind of looks at the floor and nods. Just kind of looks at them and nods uncomfortably. And he says, "We are so very pleased to meet you. We come with an invitation. You see, the Baroness has heard that you have come to stay in our town, and she would like to invite you to tea. And Harrowdane, I believe that she would like to speak to you privately. Would you mind coming with us?" And he says, "Oh, I don't have anything to share. I do not think. I did not say anything. I was merely on my way and caught them, and they said hello. I do not think that will be necessary." And okay, and she, the one in the middle, the one with the rose on the side of her shoulder, she says, "Oh no, Harrowdane. I think you should come with us. Why don't you visitors accompany us to the Chateau de Revalria, the Baroness's home, And Haroden, you can come with us as well. And he goes, I don't think that will be necessary. I said nothing. I have my music lessons. The children, they will be expecting me. And she kind of interrupts him and she says, that is all right, Haroden. I believe the Baroness will not mind if you miss your music lessons for today. And he looks at you guys and just this look of panic comes over his face. And if help me were flashing on his forehead, he could not be more obvious. But he looks to them and he looks to you, and they actually move over to flank him. Almost, Thora, in a predatory way.
Yeah. So if you guys have anything to say, Thora is about to be incredibly rude. So I leave the floor open to you guys before he says something.
So, my compatriots, we are here to see and meet with the Baroness. It is excellent that she is aware of our presence and that I would like to expedite our meeting. I am absolutely for letting this happen. So let us quickly be on our way. We have no need to speak with this man. It would only hinder our meeting. So let us be off.
And Odelia will say, thank you very much for trying to answer our questions. I'm sorry we didn't actually get to have any conversation with you. You were a very nice man, but with no information at all for us.
Okay. Odelia, make a bluff check, please.
Is there a thing to that?
Is there a saint out there who can help you with this bluff check?
Is there a modifier to go with
half
that?
your level. If you're not trained, it's half your level and your charisma modifier.
So that's a 12. Can I have diplomacy instead?
Not since you were lying. No, I don't think so. So I'll tell you what happens. One of them, the one in the middle.
Can I use diplomacy because I just said that?
You absolutely can. I will let you react to what happens next. So the one with the big, big flower, on her shoulder there, she says, I am Ilvara, and these are my fellow ladies in waiting, Kaltaya and Dimitria. Kaltaya and I will bear you to the Baroness for tea. She is so eager to meet with you. She loves to welcome visitors to our fair town. And she says, Dimitria, if you will take Haroden away for chat. Dimitria comes over and puts a hand on his shoulder, and he looks at the hand like it's a viper. And he stiffens as she touches him, and she just gently lays, and he jerks away from her, like almost Demetria, almost like he can't help himself. And Demetria says, Haroden, so nervous. We only go for talk. Come, let us go talk. And she just kind of, how when you're not allowed to touch a child in public school, you guide them like this, but you don't actually make contact? She goes like this. And as she moves her arm, he physically is steered away, trying to avoid being touched by her. And he goes walking off towards the houses back towards Holyoke Park and looks over his shoulder at you guys like, and unless you're going to do something, he and Demetria are off.
I mean,
I don't know how subtly I'd be able to do this, but could I plant a bug on him?
Plant a bug on him?
Yeah.
Like,
You've mentioned in the past that druids have the ability to use like animal messenger. So I'm trying to plant a potential communication device on him, essentially.
Well, you could conceivably plant a bug and then perform the ritual and summon it later. So I'll tell you what I'm going to let you do. I'm going to let you make a thievery check as he is being guided away to see if you can stash one of your scarabs on him to summon later.
No.
No. So what'd you get there?
That's a 2.
Okay.
Plus half
right.
my level plus my dex is 9.
Okay. So you flick a bug at him. Right? You flick the scarab and everybody sees it. It's like, ugh, it goes through the air. And Demetria actually kind of just goes like snap, and she catches the bug in her hand like this. And she goes, oh, you have little friends. How adorable. And then she drops the bug to the floor. And Thora, it's dead.
He's making...
Make a nature check,
He's not even
please.
being subtle. There is a hatred in his face. First, interrupted. Second, killed one of his bugs. Third, she's being a word that I don't want to use on this podcast.
A naughty stream word. Okay, Thora, make a nature check, please.
25.
You smell poison. You smell
Did you
poison.
like that reaction? Did you like the I looked up with hatred? Because
and when I say poison, Thora, I mean you smell potent toxin. And your bug, I mean it boom. Drops to the door, and then she keeps ushering him away. She's walking away now, unless anybody's doing anything. And Ilvara and Kaltaya say, come, we go to the Baroness now, to Chateau de Revalria.
But wait. I mean, what's going to happen to him?
Clothes.
He only just said hello to us. He didn't actually, I don't know what he's meant to have told us, but he didn't tell us a word.
Do not worry for Haraldane. He is a bit what you might call eccentric. He has, well, let us say, he doesn't always have the revelry spirit. You know what I mean?
He looked like he was about to be executed.
Oh, he's not. She says, he will not be executed. No one in Port Revalria has been executed for hundreds of years, as far as I know. And she says, you don't need to worry about it. You see, we have no city guard. We are a peaceful people. We would never enact violence upon someone else. You have nothing to worry about.
I mean, have you been here when the sun goes down?
And you turn into vampires too?
Is that what you say?
That's what I say.
And all right, she looks at you, Moroccan, and she says, ooh, such coarse topics. These are questions better left to the Baroness, no? Let her explain the peculiarities of our town.
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't aware you weren't able to answer a yes or no question. Where is the Baroness?
Chateau Revalria, off we go. And they start walking to the west.
Thora is marching toward the inn because he doesn't have his stuff.
Okay.
He's literally going to be like, we slept in these clothes.
Okay.
And he wears the same thing every day, so it doesn't bother him. But he's literally like, I want my stuff.
He has a really good point. We haven't had a chance to freshen up. Don't you think we ought to do that before we go see the fancy pants Baroness?
It's been a taxing evening.
He says, all right, so Ilvara, who seems to be the most talkative one, she says, well, if you wish to collect your belongings, I do not see a problem, but they will be safe in the Divine Dragon Inn. You can trust the innkeeper. Lombardo is very reasonable. Plus, we do not have theft in our town. No one would take anything from you.
After last night, I highly doubt the trust. And he continues.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow Thora at this point because I'm not. The evening has told me otherwise.
Okay. All right. So, do you go with them, Odelia?
Yeah.
All right. So they follow you. They go, very well. Collect your things. The Baroness, she is patient.
As soon as we go,
That felt a little too good.
Kind of giving the finger. Yeah. There's not.
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
oh man, I feel like we're one poor diplomacy check away from rolling initiative.
I have
if
so really quick, I'm just looking
Yes.
over my thing. I get +2 to diplomacy and insight checks, but I also have group diplomacy +1.
Yes. So everybody keep that in mind. When you are within 5 feet of Thora, his half-elfiness, which is kind of a natural point of go between two worlds, aids everybody in kind of communicating. So
Yeah.
Excellent.
he grants you a +1 to diplomacy when you are within him. Within 5
when
squares.
we pass that bakery again,
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say, look, this little boy needs breakfast. And I'm just going to march him right into the bakery and get him some, like a big old loaf of bread.
Okay,
Separate the
Ilvada
escorts.
steps in front of you, and she says, well, if you wish to go to the bakery, of course you may, but you will not find sweeter, delectable delights than you will at the home of the Baroness. In fact, she has special orders from the bakery all the time. And she looks down to the little boy, to Handsome Barrett. Handsome Barrett, who he spent quite a bit of time around people who are subtly threatening. He seems to be picking up on a lot more than another little kid might. And so Odelia, he just kind of steps behind you. But she leans down and she looks at him and she says, how would you like to try gingerbread men with frosting and sprinkles and little gumdrop buttons with your tea, eh? And there will be rose cakes and fresh bread with honey and cream. And Odelia, he looks up at you and he's like, well, she can't be all bad if she has good food. Like, and he doesn't say anything, Odelia. He just looks up at you like, thoughts? Like,
So Odelia steps in between him and the lady, who is clearly a tall supermodel, and she just stretches up to her full height, like including on her tippy toes.
up to her belly.
Yeah, and she's just staring up at her, and she says, you listen to me. This child is under my protection. You have no idea who you would be dealing with if you harm a hair upon his head. I don't know what kind of crazy, cursed, insane town this is. And I don't mind so much for me and my friends. We can take care of ourselves. But I want you and your friends and the Baroness to know right now, if this child is harmed, we will bring down the wrath of all of our gods upon you, and this island will be blown from the waters. Do we have
Okay. Odelia, do you want to make a diplomacy check or an intimidate check?
Applause.
Wait, do I get advantage on this because it's in defense of the child?
I will give you a +2 bonus. Actually, yes, I will give you advantage because it's child related.
Yes.
I rolled 18.
Okay,
Whoa.
okay. All right, so I'm assuming you want to make an intimidate check here and not a diplomacy check per se.
Okay, well,
Eh? You're not really trying to convince her of anything. You're just trying to say, Bitka,
Which is-
step off.
I've
Which
watched
is
enough like political shows to know that diplomacy is just it's just a form of intimidation, but with a smile.
All right, well, with an 18, it doesn't really matter. Let me check her will. Okay,
which is-
so you only need to exceed her will to rattle her, which you more than do with your level bonus. So you step in front of her, and she actually takes a step back, and she goes, my dear, no one in Port Revalria, least of all the ladies in waiting of the Baroness, would ever harm a child. Odelia, I would like you to make an insight check, please. Thora, you can make one too. And
Yay.
Morocon, you can also make one if you choose.
Helping out.
Ugh.
Oh, when Odelia's in mom mode, she's awesome.
Yeah, she rolls high.
He's scary.
That's a 23.
Okay, Odelia, when she says no one in Port Revalria would ever harm a child, you get the impression that she wouldn't mind harming a child. She might actually enjoy it.
Not surprised by this.
But you also can see she's a skilled bluffer. Like she says it convincingly, but there is a maliciousness behind her eyes that she can't hide from you. And but she does take a step back, and she says, "No one would ever harm." Gives her a little spiel, and she says, "If you wish to go to the bakery, you are more than welcome to go to the bakery. I am sure that you will find any number of wonderful treats to feed the child. But a beautiful feast awaits you at the house of the Baroness."
So Odelia will just take a step forward to acknowledge that she has seen that she's Rattler and say, "I'm so glad to know that we have an understanding." And then she'll just turn her back on her entirely and say, "Barrett, it's up to you. Would you like to have a treat now from the bakery, or would you like to go up to the fancy house and have the fancy feast a little bit later?"
He looks like, oh my gosh, it's like Willy Wonka, and somebody just invited him into that Willy Wonka room with all the treats, and he's like, I want to see what the fancy food looks like.
Okay, we can do that.
She said they have gingerbread men, but with frosting and gumdrops. What's a gumdrop?
Oh, I think you'll like it very much. And let's go have a nice party with the nice people.
All right. And he looks and he's like, oh, and he looks through your aunts. He's like, okay, let's go get our stuff. And she just gives you Ilvara just gives you this winning supermodel smile, like, this is all so delightful. But you can tell that you've successfully rattled her, and she's actually walking a step behind, like a step away from you now. Like before, she was using her physical presence to intimidate, and now she's like, dang, she'll cut a bit, like now
She will.
Yeah, or skewer one. Now the other one, Kaltaya, she walks over to you, Morocon, and she
Not another woman, no.
She looks at you, Morocon, and snuggles a little bit closer. Not uncomfortably so, but she enters your personal space while you're walking back to the Divine Dragon, and she says, so you are a priest? She spoke of gods. Are you all clerics then?
Indeed.
Oh, that is
I
fascinating.
I don't hide my blatant discomfort and like disdain for what this morning has brought for us.
Well, to say nothing of the evening. Okay.
Right.
And she looks at you, Morocon, and she says, well, I find that absolutely fascinating. Maybe we could have more discussion about it later. What do you think?
I growl.
Ooh, okay.
A deep, guttural, as intimidating of a dragonborn growl I can possibly muster.
Okay, so Kaltaya comes over to Ilvara, and she puts her arm on her in a companionable way, and she says, I like them. They're so feisty. So much life in them. It's so lovely to have such lively visitors to our town. And she says, please collect your things. The Baroness will be so eager to meet you. And they just wait outside the inn, careful to keep a step away from Odelia. And whatnot. All right. So
when we go into the inn,
all right, you what?
we have a wee powwow.
Okay.
When we go into the inn to collect our things.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh yeah.
All right. So you go in to collect your things, and you find Lombardo, the halfling gentleman who tried to eat you last night. He is scrubbing the floor where you skewered a vampire into ashes. And like he's got a big old bucket of water that's half his size, and he's just sopping it down, and then and he looks up and he says, "Oh, welcome, welcome. I am so pleased to see you." And then he's scrubbing. He says, if you wish breakfast, you're going to have to wait. You see, I am, my wife, she is often tired from the night's festivities. We do like our festivities here in Port Revalria. Our nights get a little wild, no? And then he goes, scrubbity, scrubbity, scrubbity.
Wild indeed.
Thora will walk up and kind of peer over his shoulder, like, and be like, "And what happened here?"
He says, "Oh, nothing. Nothing happened here. Is no problem. Just it is always rowdy in the parties in the evening, you know. I am just cleaning up a mess. Sometimes a chair will be broken, or a small fire will be. When people get to drinking, all kinds of mishap can happen."
Yes, but that appears to be ash.
Well, someone must have knocked over a lamp and started a small fire.
Do you actually remember what happened last night?
Of course I remember, up to a point. It is all kinds of drinking and carousing, and we were sharing stories, if I remember, and there was music, and there was dancing, and more drinking, was there not? And I think you all did a fair amount of that. So glad that you have come to stay here. If you will excuse me, I need to go. He goes behind the bar.
Curious place to wake up to find a mirror, wouldn't you say?
All right. He looks, he's like, "Oh, it is no trouble. Sometimes things get moved around during the party and festivities. I just move it back. Is no problem."
I don't need an insight check for that one.
I don't think any of us do.
No.
Yeah, he's pretty blatantly obvious. You don't really need an insight check with how he's handling the situation. And you start to wonder how everybody else handles this situation. But for him, I mean, just a big party.
Yeah. And
like
it
every
sounds
night.
It sounds like he's either in 100% denial or like fully knows and is just like, I'm gonna ignore the fact that I just tried to kill guests.
You can make an insight check if you'd like to and see if you can determine which.
29.
Okay.
I'm just going to
12 plus
straight up
17.
Morokon's just going to straight up ask him.
Okay.
Yes.
So Thora, you're such a people watcher. You look at him, and his line of communication is blatantly obvious, right? It's, "Oh, it was a party." There is a discomfort about the questioning process of last night. You can tell that he's uncomfortable with questions of last night, but he is comfortable with his discomfort. It's a practiced discomfort. You can tell that he's used to answering questions, and if they get too numerous, he's going to get dodgy.
Yeah.
And that's it.
I just realized the current loadout we have is we have good cop, bad cop, and the scary investigator who goes like this. That's Thora.
It's probably making an impression. Morokon, are you still dragging Anduriel?
Yeah, I am. Yeah, he's still just
Okay.
Pop.
All right. So pat him on the bum again, Anduriel, and he looks up at you as he goes behind the bar, and he says, "I can see your friend did a little bit of celebrating too." And then he goes back behind the bar into the kitchen.
Just running from us.
So we're alone now, basically.
There's nobody else in the inn. There's no sign of his wife right now.
Is his
Okay.
wife one of the ones we like?
Well, you killed her, but she
Okay.
regenerated.
Oh right.
Let's
Okay.
let's hurry and gather our things and let's chat, shall we?
I
Head
think
off
that's
to
for the
tea?
best.
Okay. So you guys gather up your possessions, and Odelia, as everybody's gathering things, Handsome Barrett is like, "Are we gonna go now? Is it? Are we gonna eat? Are we there yet?" Like, he's just kind of exciting, and Morocon, he looks up at you and he says, "So last night, you turned into the sun."
Yes,
baby.
yes. The goddess of the sun has blessed me with her power.
So, can you turn into the sun whenever you want?
I wish that were the case. That would have made last night a far less interesting evening if I could.
Okay, Morocon, you say that, and you become aware as you kind of remember that divine connection is weak again. And you just become aware of it as you like remember back to channeling holy power, and it feels once again like Hemina is farther away from you. Like you just can't quite reach her as easily as you could before. And whatever grace was within the chapel is gone.
Yeah.
So Handsome
There's
Barrett,
got
he
to be a
says,
better conduit. We've got to find a better conduit.
hey Thora, you notice that that's not true.
Is it the instrument?
I don't know. Is it?
Someone can still channel divinity. It's just not me.
You can feel her, Thora. You can feel her coming through your holy symbol. You could reach now for any of your divine powers, and there would be no problem whatsoever. But it doesn't seem to be affecting you.
If we're going to be having a group powwow right now, let's make that part of our conversation. Hey, so we found this.
Oh yeah.
Found this fluty flute.
So Thora, you do have that realization. As Morocon says, I wish I could do it whenever I want. You do have the realization of what he's talking about, what with your enormous insight. And you realize that you can feel your holy power and your conduit to Finhifara, and it's completely unaffected. Now, I will also mention, you need to tap into the ley line to restore the energy to your golem limbs. You do not have access to your golem powers right now because you have used up the energy. So you're going to have to tap the ley lines either at some point now or later.
He will definitely have to try at some point. I don't know if he's gonna have time, but yeah.
Okay.
He will so once they head upstairs to discuss all this, he's going to hand off the flute and see if there's a change.
To whom do you hand the flute?
To Odelia,
right.
who's raising her hand.
Who hasn't looked at it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
That too.
Thora, you hand off the flute to Odelia, and immediately when you let go of it, you feel your connection to divinity hampered again. And Odelia, you take hold of this serpent flute, and you can practically hear the ocean, which ironically, since I have the ocean sound background music, you actually can. But Odelia, you take hold of the flute, and it just, it washes over you that your holy connection is completely restored to Moiris.
Oh, that's marvelous. That is. Oh, where did this come from?
Morocon found it in the basement of the chapel.
I found it in the chapel last night.
On a desiccated corpse. An old desiccated corpse.
It was kind of gooey. I read him his rights and then...
Actually, it wasn't gooey at all, Morocon. The corpse was so old, it crumpled when you pulled it apart.
So like Indiana Jones style, like
Snap. Yeah.
oh,
Yep.
oh,
Don't
poor
know-
guy.
Play
We
it.
don't know a lot about it other than it's ancient. By my reckoning, it's as old as the original Fellowship.
Wow. Has anyone tried to play it yet? Is this what noise you were making last night?
I'm not sure anyone can play it. I am an expert musician, and it sounds horrible.
It's terrible. It feels wonderful, but I think it sounds terrible.
You can try to play it if you want to, Odelia.
Okay, she'll just
Examine it first. Let's find out what it is.
with the playing it. That's what I want to do is examine.
You
it.
can make an Arcana check and make your playing a part of it, but go ahead and make an Arcana check, Odelia.
Okay, this was my Arcana check. It's a nat 20.
What?
Oh,
Plus 10.
okay. All right. So, Odelia, with a natural 20, I will tell you the name of this artifact because you did roll a natural 20, which is probably the only circumstance. This is called the Flute of the World Serpent, and it is an ancient artifact. It was created. Excuse me. It was created to bring the power of the gods of nature to the restoration of the land. And you don't know the history, the entire history of the artifact. In fact, you don't even know where it was created. You just know that this was created in concert between the priests of several deities in order to bring life back to the land. Kind of full circle. It has power over the seasons. And the world serpent, it has powers related to the world serpent, not necessarily to snakes, but to the idea of death and rebirth. It has power somehow over that. So it will take you a while of fiddling with this to figure out what it does, but you absolutely will be able to determine what its powers are once you've taken a couple hours to play around with it.
This is marvelous. I mean,
So,
can I keep this?
Can you what?
Can I keep this?
And we're gonna have a fight over treasure. This fight, yeah.
Morokon's not gonna fight over keeping that
Yeah.
because I've already tried to play it.
Does Thora look like somebody opened his birthday present? Is that the like?
Well,
Does it sound way better when I play it?
We haven't heard you play it yet. You're gonna have to make a charisma check.
Okay. I was hoping that nat 20 also applied to playing it.
Nope. Unfortunately, it requires bardic skills to use it, at least that part of it.
and in terms of your question, unless Odelia like actively shared all of that, he doesn't know yet. So when she asked if she could keep it, he doesn't care.
It is a 13.
A what?
13.
Okay, so barely better than Morokon, Odelia. You managed to get out like, I don't know, green sleeves. What child is this? Like, do 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 do.
It's definitely a sea shanty that she's trying to play.
Yeah, she's like and then what do you do with a drunken sailor? What comes out like. So Odelia, you start playing this, and something really interesting happens as you play. The serpent begins to writhe slightly as you play it towards the end, and it almost feels like it comes alive in your hands, and each note of a proper melody seems to elicit a glow or a different color of light from the end of the flute. You get the idea that maybe it was made to play specific songs, and if those songs were to be discovered, that you'll be able to figure out how to use the flute, but if you learn a specific song it was meant to play, it may unlock even more power.
So Moiras would count as one of the nature gods, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Odelia, I mean, maybe this isn't the. Do you think we have time? But does Odelia know any songs that are specific to the water goddess that might help trigger something?
Let's make a religion check, Odelia, who doesn't pay attention in church.
Pay attention.
She knows the first line of how great thou art, and she jacks it up with I am a child of God. She's like, how great thou eternal family. Like, so go ahead and make your religion check, Odelia.
That's 21.
Okay. So with a 21, you can pull out Moiris's Ode to the Sea.
Right.
And it's and you manage to pull out several verses of it. It does not seem to unlock anything specific in the Flute of the World Serpent. But I will also tell you that Moiris, there are no symbols of Moiris on the flute in particular. So you're not really shocked by that. The symbols that are on there are Melodia, the demigoddess of music, and Saroku, the wind god, and Florin, the god of plants and magical animals, and also Finhifara.
There isn't one of Hamina.
There's not a symbol of Hamina on there. She apparently did not get invited to this party.
On.
Man.
Isn't this your area? Do you know any good songs?
I could certainly try.
Okay, Handsome Barrett looks up and he goes, could we play songs after breakfast?
Oh, that.
Of course.
What's the plan with this? We've got to figure out what our plan is, because we do need to meet the Baroness. That is why we were sent here.
Okay, Handsome Barrett looks up at you guys. What do you mean, what's the plan? I thought we were going to have gingerbread.
Oh, don't you worry, son. We're going to eat. And hopefully more.
Also have boring grown-up stuff that we have to do too. We just have to make a plan, and then we can go eat some gingerbread, okay?
Okay, but it is breakfast.
Yes, and you're being so patient. You're doing a really good job.
Cool. Cool.
So we're in agreement that that we hate these three ladies waiting for us outside, right?
To put it mildly.
This is they're clearly the worst. Like, this is the root of all evil in this town.
This town has not treated us well. They've treated us well until night falls. So I can't imagine the Baroness seeing her messengers being that as they are. I can't imagine the Baroness being much better than any of you.
Especially considering the fact that she claims that her prayers are what protect this village. Her prayers alone.
The Baroness?
Or it wasn't the Baroness.
The Countess.
The Countess. But
yeah.
he's still that's still sketch to him.
Oh, we're meeting a Baroness, not the Countess?
Yeah.
You're meeting the Baroness. Yeah.
Oh, I misunderstood.
We
need to see the Countess.
The saint of the island of Desmare is the Countess. And you were told,
got that.
Yeah.
You were told at the dock that since the day of intercession, no one has ever needed to pray because the Countess prays for everyone. She is a living saint doing the God's work here on the island of Desmare. And she keeps everyone safe.
I bet seeing the Baroness will at least, that might be our pathway to get to see the Countess.
Unfortunately, I feel you are correct, Odelia.
Do you think that we need to be nice?
Well, I'm quite the diplomat. He says as like neutrally as possible.
Yeah,
I'll be nice.
I'm trained in diplomacy, but so yeah, whenever my mother would meet with rival businesses and other clans to make business happen, there are frequently people that you didn't want to get along with. that you just had to put up the facade, make the business transaction, and then get out.
I
Okay.
mediated for Sister Pot of Air.
Thora.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sister Fodavera and Thora, they're not, they're who you probably send on diplomacy missions when you're looking to start the war. That's not that they wouldn't, I'm just saying between the two of them, their priorities might not be the same. But, all right, so will you go back down to the ladies in waiting?
I think we're going to have to meet with the Baroness, so at very least we can get an audience with the Countess if the Baroness is of any use to us.
Yeah.
This might be the best way to get an audience with the Countess.
I am afraid you're right. I think we just got to grin and bear it,
Grin and bear it.
Right.
Sorry.
Feed the wolves a bone so that we can go to the next den.
Yeah. Before we head down, is there any chance that I could try and think of a song to Finhefara, or like a melody?
You absolutely can. You can make a religion check to see if you can identify a song that might resonate.
Okay. I just wasn't sure what our time frame was, so like.
Well, it's up to you. I mean, you haven't gone down there to see if they're still waiting for you, but what do you think? Do you think they're still waiting for you, or?
How far away is the Baroness? How far away is her estate?
You don't know. She just said you were heading west. She indicated that it was west past the Divine Dragon, her chateau.
But it's not in this town, though, right?
The Chateau de Revalria.
Right.
You assume it is, unless because on either side of Port Revalria are high cliffs. Remember?
Okay.
Right.
So unless you're going up some mountain pass you're not aware of, it's probably in the town.
Okay.
Throw a
on
religion
that religion check. On that religion check, this die rolls nothing but 16s, I swear. So that is a 26 on religion.
Okay. So with a 26 on religion, you managed to come up with a sacred song that has to do with life being restored and lost between the seasons, right? So Finhefara is a goddess of many things, but she has specific dominion over wild nature, the seasons, motherhood, life, and wolves, right? So she is the wolf mother. So you come up with a hymn about the restoration of life and the sacredness of the seasons. And the same thing seems to happen. The flute comes alive in your hands and the snake moves, but not in a creepy way. It just responds to you. And once again, with each note that you blow of the song, light manages to come. It just a different color light issues. And you feel like the instrument has come alive, but again, it doesn't feel like the song that this flute was made to perform. Okay. And again, you do feel like, it's almost like, do you remember the scene in the Goonies when he's pressing on the organ and some of the door opens and the other one falls? Like, you can tell as you're playing it that a certain combination of notes would probably unlock a very specific power in this flute, but it doesn't seem to be the song that you just played on it.
Okay.
So Moroccan is going to try to he's going to try to help in his way in trying to find other music, because he remembers hearing chants and stuff that the other monks and clerics would sing in the citadel. And so he's going to try to help in his way and just keep, hey, how about try this one?
Down by the riverside. We built this city on rock and roll. He's like,
Right.
That just came on in my playlist.
Yeah.
Ah,
Built
yes.
This city.
Yeah. That is a great song. Anyway.
But noticing that didn't work, he's going to hold the flute out to Moroccan, and he's going to say, "This seems to restore your connection to the divine, and in this place, your power seems to be the most relevant."
If we run into more vampires, that would certainly help. But I am not a disciple of Finhafara or any of these deities. If you would like, I can try to play some songs of Hemina. There aren't a whole. To be fair, as Moroccan doesn't know a lot of songs outside of his own religion.
Yeah. And it's less that he's asking you to play something and more that he's like, you have the power of the sun, which kills vampires. You need to have this.
Okay, well.
So he hands off the flute to you, Moroccan,
right.
and you immediately feel your connection to Hemina restored.
Ooh.
Your holy symbol sparkles, and you can feel sunlight at your beck and call. And
Okay.
you feel the light of the celestial orbs in the sky at your beck and command. Your beck and call.
So after feeling that,
Odelia, handsome Barrett starts making whining noises.
After noticing this, after receiving the flute, so I'm a seer.
Yes,
I'm going to, now that I feel a connection with Hemina, I'm going to say a little prayer and see if I can get some guidance as to where we are supposed to go and what we are supposed to do next that would get us to the Countess faster.
Okay.
Nice.
Moroccan, would you please make a religion check and also tell me specifically what you say?
Okay. Amina, we are on a very dark and shrouded island, and we require a great deal of help. This instrument seems to be allowing us to have a conduit to break through the haze that is on this island. We also require we are on the hunt for a vampire, and we feel the Countess would be of great help to us if that Countess isn't the vampire already. So whatever would get us to, if you could guide us to get us to the Countess faster, or if you can help us find more implements or instruments like this that would help and strengthen us in our journey to fight this vampire, it would be much appreciated. You've given me many gifts, Amina, and this would be a wonderful help.
You've given me a lot of gifts. I want another one.
Well, it's more, I'm more trying to say it in a way of like, look, you've given me the gift of seership. I'm trying to use that seership to help us just clearly see a path of where we're supposed to go. Whether it be tools that help us on this quest or a quicker route to finishing it.
So, Benjamin, I am looking for the image of the vial that you did. Do you remember this image that you did?
I only remember doing an image of the Gizik's vial.
No, you did. I cannot find it, and it's not in the art folder for the adventure.
As I go over to Facebook.
Which is surprised me. But don't you remember the vial with the drop of suspended blood that you did? Am I like making something up? Am I pulling this out of my butt?
I think you're making something up because that wasn't in the art needs.
All right, let me see if I can find this, because Hemina does respond to your prayer. And let me see if I can find it in my albums.
I'll say the only thing that I've done that would be even close is like that crest with the heart.
Nope, that's not it.
Right.
Um,
And then like a rose in a garden.
no, it's not it. And it may be,
Okay.
I thought you did this image, Benjamin, but it may be that I jacked it from somebody else and I cannot seem to find it again. But I can describe it for you, which is not as satisfying and yet nevertheless will tell you the answer that you get. So there is a brief sparkle of light that comes in through the window and kind of, dazzles your sight for a minute, Morocon. And as it does so, you catch a flicker of light coming from Anduriel's pocket. And
I search his pocket.
And basically what happens is the sunlight kind of blinds you, but it seems to reflect off something that's sticking out of his pocket. And the light bends unnaturally in order to make this happen. So you pull out of Anduriel's pocket a ceremonial vial that looks on either end of it like it has the top of a vampire's head with two fangs extending over the glass and the bottom of a vampire's jaw, so that it looks as though the vampire's mouth was encasing the glass vial. And suspended in this glass vial is a single drop of blood. And
it's floating in the vial, like just
it's suspended in midair
crazy.
in the vial.
Okay.
Almost as if it was in a spell of suspended animation of some kind. And you don't hear any voices. You don't hear any music, but you kind of feel like you found a piece of the puzzle. Like this is going to guide you somehow on your quest.
Okay. Do I need to make a religion check or a history check or something on this vial, or
you may make a religion check? Yeah.
Okay. Okay. I'm trained in religion. It's a dirty 20.
Okay, so you remember how everybody right before Lachlan sent you guys to the island of Desmare and to catch the lady's errand, everybody went back home and they studied up with their own church and trained a little bit further in your Paragon Path powers.
Right.
When you went back to New Tarsa, to the Citadel of Perpetual Light, you heard about a brazen sect of vampires that were operating in the area of New Tarsa. And they seem to be vampire priests, directed by vampire priests, and a number of priests, a very small number, have reported finding these ceremonial vials with these single drop of blood suspended in it. And according to the few accounts that you've heard, the priests seem to throw these vials like weapons, like it's a projectile weapon. But you don't get the sense, Morocon, that Himino wants you to throw this projectile. You feel like it might be more like a compass somehow. but you haven't the
Okay.
faintest clue how this thing would work like a compass.
Right. Well,
And I will tell you, no amount of religion checks or arcana checks are going to provide the information. As you withdraw this vial out of Anduriel's pocket that he was obviously keeping secret from all of you, or just being a prick and not sharing it because
and being asleep the whole time.
Because he thinks of himself as the smart one and the rest of you as the village idiots that are nevertheless his village idiots for whom he cares deeply.
What's that?
But-
Vampires? Spiders?
His own weird
You know what?
way.
Yeah.
You take care of that. I'm gonna get my beauty sleep now.
Yeah. He's still out. Are you going
Right.
to leave him here at the inn, or are you just going to drag him with you through all the way to the Baroness's house?
No, I don't trust leaving him here. I don't trust leaving a sentient being with these people. Yeah, I'm going to he's coming along.
Okay. All right, so we shall bring Anduriel along with us to the Baroness's house.
Actually, what I will do, I'm going to ask the innkeeper if there's like a little wagon or a hand cart or something that we could like purchase or something, so we can just plop him in it and just drag along.
Okay.
Like a little
wagon?
red wagon. Like a little
Okay.
red wagon that we can just drag him along with.
All right.
Weekend at Bernie's style.
So you come downstairs to find Lombardo, and he's still hiding in the kitchen. But you can hear him back there. He's moving around pots and pans. You gonna go back into the kitchen?
I'll just holler for him because I don't want to make things any more uncomfortable than it already is. So I'll just holler for him.
Okay.
Hey, Lombardo, do you have a wagon?
I'm in the kitchen. I'm busy.
Okay, then I'll go back to the kitchen.
All right. So you go back to the kitchen and you fill up the doorway with your great big dragonbornness. And he looks up at you and he's like, will you guys be, will you be taking some breakfast then?
Sadly, we're going to have to take our breakfast to the Baroness. So, but I still have Anduriel over my shoulder. So I'll just be like, but he's kind of, I could carry him, but he's a bit cumbersome, as I tap him on the butt again. Do you have a wagon or a cart or something that we could use or perhaps purchase from you?
Well, he looks and he's like, well, I don't have much need of a wagon per se, but I suppose. And he goes back. He goes back out of the inn and walks behind the divine dragon, and he has a little like radio flyer kind of thing. It's
It'll
wooden.
do.
It's just whatever.
That's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, he has this little radio flyer thing, and he's like, I suppose we don't do many deliveries. The deliveries come to me. I don't usually make the deliveries to many other places.
That is okay. This will do. And I'll hand him like 5 silver pieces or something.
He goes, oh, we very much appreciate your patronage. You won't be taking breakfast then?
No, sadly, we will be dining with the Baroness as soon as we arrive.
Oh, that is
chateau.
wonderful. Okay. And he goes into the inn. Like, he scurries into the inn.
Okie dokie.
I'll see you at Revelry. Goodbye. Thank you. Closed door. Okay.
The sooner we get out of this island, the better. Okay, let's go, fellas. To the Baroness, then? Are we in agreement to the Baroness?
Yeah, unfortunately.
So
Yeah.
there stands, as you guys, as you guys maneuver around the wind, there stands Ilvara and Kaltaya just waiting, smiling to beat the band, and says, well, you took quite a bit of time gathering your things. We should not keep the Baroness waiting any longer, no?
Yeah, well, we needed to arrange transportation. I'm gonna find like a 2x4 or something to like wedge down like his shirt to keep him like upright in this little wagon. So he's like sitting up like.
Okay, so you weekend at Bernie's Anduriel in the cart, and he's just kind of slumped over, and he is beginning to groan, and he starts forming words, and it seems like he's coming out of it quite a bit more. And so I think this is a good spot for us to end for this session. And we will go ahead and pick it up at the Chateau de Revalria, where you will meet the Baroness, and where many wonderful things will ensue.
Out of curiosity, before we officially end, do I notice or feel anything with this vial as we get closer to the other two?
It's not a goodly artifact. Let me put it that way.
Okay, so it's something that requires some sort of attunement, and where I'm not an undead. Like, I'm an undead hunter, basically, but I'm not a...
You would need time to study it in order to attune to it, or to figure out, or to test it. But like I said, you've heard that the vampire priests that were using this were using them as projectiles.
Right.
So...
but I don't want to throw this.
Well, not if it can be used like some kind of a compass or something to guide you, which is what you prayed and asked about specifically when the sunlight showed it to you. So,
okay.
In any case, yeah, but it doesn't feel like a good artifact. It feels like it was probably, it's like carrying around a little shard of evil, maybe, but not quite like the abyssal shard of evil.
So basically it feels icky that I'm holding it, right?
It feels icky. It's not the kind of thing Hemina would have on display in the Citadel. So,
but she did say that this was a key to doing it, to finding things. So I'm going to hold on to it, at least until Anduriel wakes up, and then he and I are going to have a chat about this little vial that he is hiding from us.
Yeah, that might be an interesting conversation.
Ooh, can I do? Can I try to play the flute one more time, real quick?
I think we'll save that for the next time. Handsome Barrett is hungry, and we want to let him. You can play with the flute while you're walking, if you want.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was trying. I was gonna see if I can figure out like a tune of one of Hamina's hymns or something. Like it's likely going to fail.
If you want to pull the flute out and let the ladies in red know that you have it.
Oh yeah, I guess that would be, yeah. I can't incognito try to play a flute, so.
Hey, you're like stealthing under your clothes. Yeah, I'm gonna say no. Okay. Alrighty. Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our stream. And for those of you who may not be aware, we are a fairly positive and upbeat stream, and we like to end our game with a inspirational thought. Sometimes it is a scripture, sometimes it is a quote, sometimes it's just a positive thought that we have. So if that is your cup of tea, then stick around and feel free to listen in. If that's not your cup of tea, feel free to turn off the game and just enjoy what we've had so far. We start over, I think. I have it for tonight. I didn't assign anybody, correct? I'm pretty sure it's my turn, because that's what I thought. I prepped my own. So I have, we've done a lot of talking about being in a rough place and what that looks like and what it takes. And so the thought that I wanted to share tonight is kind of a therapy technique. And it's the idea of intentionally changing your thought patterns. I think it's really easy, and we've talked about this many times in the stream, to get into a habit of allowing your thoughts to be written by reaction, right? So something happens and we're like, oh, that's good. And so we think happy thought, right? Something bad happens and we're like, oh, bad thought, But I think that there's a lot of power in what I would call a faith thought. And that is the idea of good things are happening, good things will happen. And if something bad happens, then, it's it's temporary. And the basic thought or the idea behind it is more or less that I had it in my head and now it's escaping me. But anyway, it's just the idea of intentionally having positive thoughts and allowing your mind to be filled up with faith rather than doubt. And I don't just mean faith in a deity, although faith in God is definitely a big part for a lot of us here. But I mean just a faith in good things and filling up your mind with good things and allowing. We have a phrase in the Book of Mormon that we say, and that phrase is let virtue garnish your thoughts unceasingly. And I think that the secular version of that is to keep your thoughts positive. But I find that having positive thoughts, particularly if you struggle with depression, if you struggle with anxiety, being intentional about having good thoughts, particularly about other people, is powerful. And so if you're a person who gets caught up in dark thoughts, or you're in a dark place right now, um, try thought control. Try intentionally changing your thoughts. I've had a lot of stress with those things recently, and this morning I actually woke up and I instead. Oh, this is the thought that I was gonna I have hold. I heard somebody once say, instead of dwelling on the negative, what if you let your thoughts go? What if everything I hope for comes true? What if everything works out the way that I want it to? And letting that fill your thoughts, I think, is more powerful than worrying, because Corey Ten Boom said worrying is carrying yesterday or tomorrow's burden with today's energy. So let virtue garnish your thoughts unceasingly and see what good things come. And that's the positive thought for tonight. Anyone like to add anything to that?
That's fantastic. That's really awesome. One thing that helps me, I don't suffer from depression, but I do get like panic attacks periodically. And the thing with panic attacks are they're absolutely just miserable and crazy, and it makes you it's a weird thing because your mind splits, because like there's a logical side of your mind that knows that you are being absolutely irrational, but you are absolutely just afraid of something. And one thing that helps me, I don't know if this works for everybody, but one thing that helps me is I've over the years kind of developed a third person that it makes me sound like I'm schizophrenic. I promise, like
A little bit, but I'm willing to ride this out, Benny Boo. Tell us more.
So I try to develop this third person that from the outside I try to view my situation as a third party from the outside looking in at what's going on, and I try to make that third person a comedian. I try to make that third person, because laughter cures an awful lot. It doesn't cure everything. It can make you very cynical, but if all you're wanting to do is get the panic attack away, take the anxiety away, it seems to work for me. So I try to take a third person approach to whatever situation that's getting me down, and I try to find something just hilarious about it. Try to find something that's funny about it.
Mm-hmm.
And that seems to help me. And dark humor has become a really big help for me.
I like it. Anyone else have thoughts to add?
Well, kind of in the same vein, there's a comedian who is incredibly not like appropriate for most people, named Daniel Sloss, who he's incredibly funny, but he's incredibly dark. But what he does is I'm gonna try and do a direct quote here, but it's been a while. Is he says he does 90 minutes of comedy, and then at the very end he does a sad 15-minute TED talk. And one of his talking points one time was he was talking about death and how he uses death as ironically like a positive thing. And his words were, people laughter is good specifically because it brings a level of humanity, laughter, to tragedy. And that's what Ben just described. It's in tragedy, you aren't functioning as a human being. And if you can bring a level of humanity into that, and the easiest way is laughter, you can ground yourself in the moment as a human. And sometimes you dip into the darkness, and that's sometimes the only way out is a laugh. Something a life coach once told me is depression, which I have, anxiety, which I also have, and ADHD, which I also have.
Which, by the way, all come together frequently in one
They
package.
all come together frequently, and good Lord, that combo is debilitating sometimes. But he said, a life coach friend of mine said, a lot of people who have depression, anxiety, ADHD, the full gambit, whatever combination, etc., it sometimes feels like you're on a slide that just keeps going down. And there doesn't seem to be an end to it either. But the thing is, at any time, you can start building a ladder. And I think I mentioned this a while ago on a previous, I think previous Matt talking point was, you need to celebrate the small things. You got up. That's great. You took a shower. That's awesome. You made sure your socks were matching. That's an accomplishment that I don't always get done.
Or not matching on purpose, because that's fun. Also
or
good.
Even that. Like, celebrate the little things, because celebrating the little things is still pulling yourself into a positive mindset. I should have been a therapist.
I love it. I love it. I know anybody who's watching our inspirational thoughts is getting their fair share of therapy points that we've all garnered through the years, which I think is great.
10 plus years, baby.
Yeah, it's good. Therapy's good for you. Tommy, do you have anything you wanted to add?
I just, what you were saying reminded me of one of my favorite quotes, which is, and I can't remember off the top of my head who said it. I think it was President Hinckley from our church, but he said, I may be wrong about that. He said, stop seeking out the storms and enjoy more fully the sunlight.
I think that was him.
It's to me, it's all about what you embrace. Doesn't mean that you pretend like the bad stuff isn't there or the hard stuff. You got to face that. You can't just Pollyanna your way through life, but you can choose what you're going to embrace, and embracing the love and the light and that every life has, in spite of all the darkness. Like that's what gets you through, I think.
I love that. And doing it in your head, being intentional about it, because it's easy. It's easy to go in the other direction. In fact, our whole news system relies upon negative thoughts and stuff like that to stay in business. So that's the thought for tonight. Let virtue garnish your thoughts, build positive ladders in your head, and enjoy the mimic. John, you want to shoot the mimic up one more time there? Mimic says, good night, everybody. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Bye-bye.